Your children do not need a friend. They need you as a parent. I'm going to say that one more time. Your children do not need a friend. They need a father and a mother. Not one. They need a father and a mother. A father who doesn't provoke them to wrath, but rather trains them up. Did you know your job as a parent is training? Did you know discipline is not about taking out anger? Discipline is not about hurting a kid. You know what discipline is? And I want to make this clear. The Bible does promote spanking. I don't know where you're at with it, but it says, man, you spare the rod, spoil the kid. Parents, let me tell you your role. Your role is to train your child up. You know what that means? Teach them how to pray. Teach them how to get in the Word. Teach them integrity. Teach them character. I love this. I just read this in a book. It was a great line. It said, raise up your kids so that you like them. Raise up your kids so that you like them. You know what's crazy about that? Is too many of us are too busy trying to make our kids happy that we don't know how to train them up. We're so busy trying to get our kids to be happy and pleased with who we are that we don't know how to train them. You have a responsibility of training your children to walk in the way of the Lord. That's what God has called you to do as a parent. I'm going to say something. Nowhere in Scripture says success as a parent is that your children like you. Can I say that again? Because I think some of us are thinking that's the measurement. Man, I want my kid to like me. I want my kid to be happy with me. I want my kid to think I was a great parent. Let me just tell you something you need to know. Every kid will think you're a great parent if you train him in the way that he should go. Once train these guys up. Now, I have a big belief. This is a side note. This is not something important necessarily to the sermon, but I'm going to tell you anyways. There's a 80% of people who graduate high school and go to college leave the church. That's a big number. And that's not them out there. That's our families. They'll go to college and they'll leave the church. There's two reasons for that. One, they were never raised up on how to feed themselves. So when they get out in the world, they don't know what to do but starve. But number two is they've never been a part of church outside of just being fed at church. And it's hard to go to find a place that feeds you well. Here at this church, we're going to make a change. We're going to teach you how to participate in church. We're going to say this is how you be a part of something bigger than you. We're going to see our teenagers change. Anyways, that's a side note. Parents, your job, your one job, the thing that you're going to get asked about when it comes to your role as a parent is, did you train them up? And this is where discipline comes into play. Your role to discipline your kids is not to discipline your kids because they're bugging you. Your role is to discipline your kids so you could show them right from wrong. Can I say that again to you? That's your role. Every time your kid's acting out, it is not a matter of how angry you get at them or how annoyed you are. And if you do get angry and annoyed, you're okay. You're human. Just take a breath. But I need you to hear something. You have a position in your child's life to train them. And I'm not talking about when they're 7, 8, and 9. I'm talking about when they're 3 or 4. In our home, right now, Gideon, he's 2 years old. He can barely talk. And when he does talk, it's so cute. It's hard not to giggle at him. And he knows we're laughing at him. But even right now with our little Gideon, we're teaching him how to pray. Every chance we get, that's my one job. My one job is to raise him up so he knows the Lord. That's your job, parents. When we talk to you about children, everyone in here is a child. This applies to you. Can I say this to you really quickly? I don't know what your parents have done. They might not even deserve your honor. Just to be honest with you, you probably don't deserve your honor. But you have a job. This is your calling. Honor your parents. Honor your parents, by the way, does not mean that you say yes to everything they say. They might have some bad things for you. But it means that you don't trash them behind their back. It means that you lift them up still, even when they're wicked. It doesn't mean you have to agree with what they do. It doesn't mean you have to be with them when they do it. But what it does mean is that you don't slander them to people. You look at them and you say, I honor you. You might have been no good for me, but I want you to know my God says I have to honor you, so that's my position, and that's where I'm going to stay, honoring you. It doesn't matter how you are, what you treated me like, or what you said to me, or how you hurt my feelings when I was a kid. My job is still the same. Honor your parents. That goes to everybody in this room. Now, I just went over family roles. There's one more, which is a really important one. It's actually so heavy, I kind of forgot about it. Lastly, this is another role you have in your family. 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. You probably don't know this scripture. But if anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for those of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. Did you know that? That's a crazy scripture. How many of you guys got brothers or sisters you don't like talking to much? Oh, you don't have to raise your hand. Don't do that. So put your hands down. Stop it. Yeah, I don't want to know that. How many of you guys got cousins who always ask for something? No, I'm not really. Don't really raise your hand. I'm just saying, you don't need to pretend. I'm sorry. Don't need to raise your hand. Did you know as a family member, because we're just talking about the role in your family, that if you don't provide for your own, help them, he says, you've denied the faith. Jeez. You know why I want to end it on the scripture? Because the Bible makes it really clear. This is what you're held responsible for. This is your job. Now do it. Stop doing everything else. Men, women, stop self-serving and start looking to your husband and your wife and going, okay, this is my job before the Lord. Some of us want a radical Christian life, and the Lord's looking at you going, start with your marriage. Start with your parenting. Start with your being a good sibling and providing for your family members. Start honoring your parents. I really, really believe this. God is not going to give you the big things until you master the small things. And these are things that every one of us walk in. And I'm saying this because this whole thing about walking out your role, we got to talk about God as well. And I want to land here. I want to end here. I just wanted to talk about family today because I believe that in this room, everybody in here could apply this. Everyone could apply that you have a position in your life that you're responsible for. And everything else should be pushed to the side. And I'm going to be honest with you, your flesh, the thing inside of you that is like raging against the Spirit, as the scripture says, will do whatever it takes to get you out of position. Because those who are out of position are vulnerable to attack. He says that God is the head of man. Man is the head of woman. That means he's covered. That means when you walk in your position, you are protected. Your family's protected.